He's back! Derby County confirmed the signing of David Ozoh earlier on today, as well as letting go Darren Robinson on a loan spell to the League of Ireland. Now that sees Derby County improve their midfield options and let one of their young talents go out and get first team experience in a different league. Now obviously we've spoke about David Ozoh a few times across the course of the last few days. We've also spoke about him a lot on this channel over the course of the last 12 months, and it's not surprising that he has returned to Derby County, although we're going to have to wait and see whether his injury record will be a lot better this season. Derby County have certainly added some talent in their midfield area, but one thing that they have not done is add permanent youth to that area. Now obviously Darren Robinson is yet to sort of make a proper stamp on Derby County's first team, and he'll be heading to the League of Ireland to St Patrick's Athletic, where he'll be spending the rest of their current season. Now, who is going to come out on top of this move? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. We're going to get into it in just a moment. But if you have not done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but let's get into it. Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description, which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question, and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets. Now, David Ozoh, we all know as Derby County fans as one of the better players in our midfield to start off the previous season. He was a huge reason why Kenzo Holdmine was massively effective last season, and was also a huge reason why Ibu Adams was able to have the start to life in the Championship that he went on to have. But unfortunately, injuries meant that David Ozoh was not able to hit the heights of what his potential and his ability did show the Derby County fans, and that is obviously a very, very disappointing fact. Now, obviously, David Ozoh now returning, it is unfinished business, and I think even David Ozoh will admit that himself, and in fact I think he does within his interview on re-signing. Now obviously later on today Derby County do face up against Solihull Moors. It will be a very, very interesting game. I'm not entirely sure if David Ozoh will be involved. I'm not quite sure if he trained today or yesterday or anything like that, which obviously would make an impact on whether he plays or not. Now obviously for me, I think it's massively important to bring in a player of the calibre of David Ozoh. I think he is an unbelievably talented midfielder. He's very good on the ball, uses his body very well, and he's very good in those defensive circumstances. Now, obviously, across the course of the last few weeks, I've spoken a lot about statistics, a lot about data, and a lot of people have sort of pulled me up on David Ozoh in regards to that, because obviously with David Ozoh, he didn't play as many games as everybody else, so his data is a little bit skewed. There's not a proper sample size, but I think we all know from what we saw from David Ozoh last season that he is now the best midfielder at Derby County. And I don't really think that is an unpopular opinion. I genuinely do believe that a fit David Ozoh is quite easily the best midfielder at our club. It wouldn't surprise me if he was able to get a full season under his belt. It wouldn't surprise me if he was classified as all-round one of the best midfielders in the league. We've seen it. We saw the ability that he had. He ran the show against Bristol City. He ran the show pretty much for the entire start of the season. There was a couple of games, obviously, where it necessarily didn't quite fall for him. Obviously, Blackburn Rovers, that first professional game, really, for him, where he played that one and obviously didn't quite sort of hit the ground running. But since that game, every single time he played after then, I was excited to watch him play. It was incredible to watch him. He was a very, very good performer. Now, obviously, there is caveats with this move, and it's one which is always going to be sort of on the back of your mind. Is he going to get injured? If he misses out on a squad, it's going to be oh, what's happened this time? How long's he out for? These are the things that we're going to have to contend with as Derby County fans, and that is just an unfortunate fact of the situation that David Ozoh found himself in last year. Now, he is an unbelievable player. He is back on a season-long loan. I imagine there will be the opportunity for Derby County to cut this loan short in January if necessary. But obviously we've got to be really, really careful with this one for me, because as much as it's a deal that I'm impressed with and I'm happy with, because we know the quality that David Ozoh possesses, it's also one that comes with some major red flags, and hopefully that's something that can be assessed across the course of the next few weeks. Now, obviously, with that being said, Derby County can start this season. As of today, with the players available, we can start the season with the exact same midfield that we started with last year. The midfield that got us, I think it was 12 points in 7 or 8 games. The same midfield that sort of helped us essentially carry ourselves to a mid-table position around the course of the Christmas area, where obviously it all went to shit. But it's one of those for me where I am delighted to see David Ozoh back. Obviously, should he stay fit, I'm genuinely not worried at all about Derby County's midfield if he stays fit. If he doesn't, then we're literally in the same situation we was last year. We literally right now have the exact same midfield that we started last season with, apart from not having Marcus Harness or Tawanda Chiwa, but they obviously came later down the line. It will be interesting to see sort of how it develops across the course of the next few weeks, and how this sort of midfield will develop as well, because obviously we've had Ibu Adams in that number 10 role, and ultimately he definitely should not be in that position. Ibu should be sitting deeper with David Ozoh and Kenzo Helpmine as that player in that number 10 role. Would be nice to see where Andy Vyman is going to slot in as well. But shall we talk about Darren Robinson then? Now, he's moved over to the League of Ireland, where he's joined St Patrick's Athletic, who are in the first division of the League of Ireland. A player who Derby County fans will know is Joseph Anang. He's currently there, now 25 years old. I don't know if there's anybody else within that team that Derby County fans may know. Let's just take a little look. No, I don't think there is. Now, they're currently sat 7th in the league on 32 points after 25 games, 6 points away from 4th place Drogheda United. And it's one of those for me where I'm obviously not necessarily sold on this move. He's going to be playing in the UEFA Conference League qualifiers, I believe. They obviously get underway. I think it's on Thursday. I think they're in the second round. But it's going to be interesting to see sort of how he gets on. Obviously, going to have to keep an eye on him. Obviously, if we do look at the League of Ireland table and sort of how things are all going off, St Pat's obviously they're 7th in the league out of a 10-team division. They're 15, 16 points away from the top of the division, Shamrock Rovers, where I don't necessarily think they're going to be getting anywhere near that, but we're obviously going to have to wait and see how Darren Robinson obviously does get on. Obviously, from Northern Ireland, obviously for Derby County, valued at around €100,000. He's made 7 appearances for Northern Ireland's under-21s and is just 20 years old. Turns 21 in December around New Year time, and it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. His contract at Derby, I believe it expires this summer. It might be next summer. By this summer, I mean 2026. I'm pretty sure it expires in 2026. And obviously, in my opinion, I think he's a player that's been very hard done to. I'm not going to turn around and say he's like the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not going to say that, because ultimately, if he was, he'd be playing football. But I do believe that he was one of the players who was massively hindered by Derby County's decision to bring in Paul Warne. Obviously, if we look through, obviously his time at Derby County, made an appearance under Wayne Rooney towards the back end of that season, made a couple of appearances under Liam Rossignol the season after, and then obviously that's where Paul Warne came in, and since then he's only made 1 senior appearance, and that was in the EFL Trophy. Obviously, if we go to last season, he moved to Hartlepool. Literally, I think it was about a week or so after the manager who brought him in was then sacked. He then wasn't used and only ended up making 6 appearances, which obviously was disappointing. And obviously for a player who you sort of want to sort of see make the grade, it is very, very disappointing. Now, he's a very versatile player across the course of his time at Derby County, Hartlepool, and obviously at Donegal. He's played at centre-back, played across all 3 midfield positions, holding midfield as an 8, as a 10, and he's also played right-back, left-back, and even in the right wing-back and left wing-back positions. Now, it is going to be interesting to see how this sort of move does develop. I think he'll be there until around November, which will obviously be very interesting. Hopefully gets himself some football, and then hopefully when he returns to Derby County, may even find himself as part of the first team. Maybe in January heads out on loan to maybe League 2 or League 1, but we're going to have to wait and see on that one. Obviously, it's not quite been the move that Darren Robinson probably hoped it would be when he joined Derby County. I believe it was in the 2021-22 season, about 4 years ago, where he would have been 16 years of age. But obviously he's got a professional contract, he's had a couple of years now at Derby. It's going to be interesting to see where this does end up, but I personally can see him sort of moving on in the summer. Maybe one of those players who ends up sticking around to be a part of the B team, but obviously we're going to have to wait and see. Obviously a player at 20 years old is going to want to go out and get that first team football, but I guess this is the reason why Derby County have brought in the B team. Players like Darren Robinson, who have a clear ability but maybe haven't quite had the opportunity yet. It's always good to have them around the building, but obviously as of I think it's next season, he will have to be registered as a player, which means that it makes it a little bit more difficult to warrant keeping him around. But that is one of those. Now, you can obviously let me know your thoughts down in the comments if you have not done so already. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. And I'll catch you in my next video later on today, where we're going to be discussing Derby County versus Solihull Moors. Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description, which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question, and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets.